What's up guys, my name is Your Heroes and welcome back to more Gates of Hell and especially Development Update 136. Now if you haven't checked out the last development update which was 135, make sure you go check out, which will be linked down below on the top right hand of your screen right now. But this is all about Content Update 5, which is meant to be, and hopefully still is, one of the biggest updates to the game to come that has ever been out of all the other updates has been released. And that's what's going to be in today's video. So what we'll do, we'll just read a wee bit about what they have to say there, and then I've got a wee Word document kind of splitting it down and hopefully telling you guys everything you need to know about this update, other than Content Update 5, which is mostly all about it. So it says, community members, we recently announced that we'll be updating Ostfront soon. In this blog, you will find out what that means. We will discuss the mechanics, visuals, new units, and netcode improvements that will make up the vast update. Curious? Keep reading. Definitely, if you're curious and I'm curious, then let's read it. But if you guys would like to see more news update like this for Gates of Hell, then make sure you stay tuned to the channel, subscribe, and without further ado, let's get straight into it. So first of all, we're going to be reading about Content Update 5, which I have put in a Word document here. The Content Update 5, this is kind of the first part of the news, is that it's meant to be the largest update they have introduced, so it's giving all players a reason to come and play the game. I mean, why wouldn't you want to come and play a game like this when they're announcing one of the biggest updates to the game? And if you've seen over the past couple of years updates that have been huge, this is probably one of the biggest updates to come to the game, which is giving hope, which are barbed wire shooters, which is why they're giving an incentive for players to come back if they haven't played it in a while, to come back, because you know vast improvements are coming to the game, which is absolutely awesome. And it will not only add the original Ostfront package, but it'll also add the Talvasota DLC as well. I mean, this is absolutely huge. So as you know, with most updates with the game, that they'll try and add all possible, you know, everything to the game, but sometimes with the updates they don't come with the DLC, such as the Talvasota or the Scorched Earth, but most of the updates do. But there are specifically saying reasons to come. It will not only add the original Ostfront package, but it'll also add the Talvasota as well. With this update, the original Ostfront game has been expanded by quite a margin, and it has literally. This is why, you know, this is what's giving players or Ostfront a reason to make the update. So when they make large updates like this, it gives you incentive to come back, because people who do own the Talvasota DLC, it makes them more eager to know that the update will finally, Content Update 5 will be included in the Talva DLC, which to us, I don't know why they had to mention that, considering it should have, you know, been added to all DLCs. Doesn't matter if it's the Talvasota or the Scorched Earth one, it should be added automatically. But as well as they will be announcing it as well as together with the Liberation DLC, which we'll talk more towards the end. But the original Ostfront game has been expanded by quite a lot, as I said, and the original 21 version has had roughly half the content you'll have when Content Update goes live. So that's absolutely mind-boggling. So kind of what they've said in the update is that as I've said here, the original 21 version, it had roughly half the content you'll have when Content Update 5 goes live. So when Ostfront was about to be launched, they published Development Update 99, which I should have done on the channel. If not, then I'll link it down below. But in which they listed what would be in the release version. So they had an idea of what Content Update 5 wanted to look like when they released Development Update 99. So compare that to the package after we release Content Update 5, you'll be absolutely amazed. So I presume what they mean by that is that when after they release Content Update 5, there's a lot more they've added in, since they've mentioned what's going to be released in what they've mentioned in Content Development Update 99, which is, I mean, as they said, it's going to be amazing, but I'm more words of like mind-boggling. I mean, seriously, if they're announcing how big this and how amazing this is going to be, they really better, you know, live up to those expectations, because I'm now expecting some big things here. So over time, we published a lot of free updates, each adding content. So besides vehicles and maps, they added a lot more, such as assets, updated sound, added an updated game mechanics, and then added a game mode, and then some. So what's coming in this update? So yeah, they're mentioning that, you know, over the time that they've done updates, and a lot of them, most of them have been free. Actually, all of them has been free, which is very kind of Gatesfeld to do this, because some of the, you know, a lot of the updates, if we're just looking back on all the updates that they've released, all of them has been free, and some of these updates have been absolutely crucial to the game, such as, you know, new game modes, new mechanics. Seriously, some of these updates have been absolutely, you know, changed the way the game has been, and giving that for free during their time that they produce it has got to be very, you know, most kind of thing I've ever seen a developer do. Honestly, you would see really no other game do this, because most games usually are pay to play, and Gates of Hell is definitely not a pay to play. It's more of just a play to play, you know, just a fun to play, I don't know, whatever it's called. Like, this game does not really entice pay to play. If you think of pay to play, think of like World of Tanks. I mean, or I'm trying to think of another game that's quite related to Gates of Hell. Think of, like, I think, is it Hearts of Iron 4? I don't know if they're pay to win. I haven't played that game, but I'm pretty sure they've got a lot of DLCs which kind of add on the game, which kind of makes it pay to win. But Gates of Hell don't make it a pay to win, because even though if you don't have the Talva de Sota DLC, which adds a faction, that doesn't mean you're getting the advantage. It just adds another faction. It doesn't make you more of a powerful player. It just means that it just, you know, expands the game a wee bit, but that doesn't make it a pay to win. Honestly, having this, you know, they're kind of going back, showing you how much they've added for free in this game, and it's absolutely amazing. We thank you, Barwasharu Gatesville, for everything that you've done. Honestly, you've done such an amazing job with this game. Better than better than the original Call to Arms, and better than Men of War Assault Squad 2 combined. And that's saying a lot. And then you have competition with Men of War 2. But to be honest, I don't expect that game really to do well, considering you've got stuff like this large update coming out, which I don't think Men of War 2 will have a stand, or will have a chance against. Moving on to Destructibility. Now, this was one of the other things they talked about. So Destructibility, so in the original release, you know, when they kind of announced it in Development Update 99, the destruction of trees was not catered for, so they didn't really put too much detail into when, you know, hit a tree. When a large projectile hits a tree with HE, it kind of like disappeared. It kind of frizzled out like Thanos did when he snapped his fingers. I mean, they kind of just disappeared, and that's it. But now, when a tree's is being directly hitted by a large HE shell, such as maybe a large, you know, cannon, or a large HE cannon, I'm trying to think of like an artillery piece, like 122mm, it will now be disintegrated, which is really good to see, because disintegrate just means that it actually shows the details of how the tree will, you know, be disintegrated when, you know, when it gets hit by an HE shell. And that's absolutely just the little details really do make a difference in this game. So trees will now act more naturally when hit by sufficiently large projectile, or when vehicles push them over. And that's, you know, that's great to see, because when every time a tank or a vehicle hits a tree, it would sometimes, the tank or the vehicle would just stop and the tree would not fall over. So it wasn't natural, it wasn't realistic. But now that they're saying this, it will now feel like it feels more accurate, you know, if you generally feel like you're wanting to play the game a lot more, because it's more realistic, it's more natural, and it's a lot better for the game, and it entices players to come and play the game. And then depending on the time of year, such as, you know, the winter, the summer, or autumn, or especially for summer or autumn, the trees will shed. So that means that so in autumn time, as you know, leaves kind of the trees start to kind of shred, or the leaves start to kind of fall off during the summer and the autumn time, which is kind of cool to see, because I hope kind of when the trees do fall off, you'll kind of see a lot of, maybe a lot of it come onto if there's vehicles, the leaves will fall onto the tank and kind of like stay there, or as it moves, the leaves will kind of fall off as the tree's moving forward, and it generally gives like a lot of excitement to the map. It just makes it again a lot more realistic and a lot more natural. Those are the really two important words, just because I feel like it just makes the game more exciting, and it makes me want to go play the game more. But in winter, when winter hits, it will shed snow from the trees. So as you know, when it snows, the snow hits the leaves or hits the trees, and over time it just collects up, the snow collects up in the leaves or the tree. So therefore, when it's too much, when the tree can't hold all the snow, it will fall off, and hopefully that means it won't kill or injure the soldier, because it would be a really kind of, I understand why that could happen, but I'm probably thinking too far ahead. But you never know, snow could actually injure a soldier if there's too much snow collected on the tree, so therefore a large of it could just shred or just fall off, which could injure the player, which I hope doesn't happen, because then you're talking a wee bit too much of a realistic action there, which doesn't really, it really is a waste, because you could have a really important soldier trying to capture a point, and if they get hit by snow and they die or get injured from it, it just makes it just really stupid and really inconvenient. So I really hope that doesn't happen. But again, this makes it feel more natural and just more realistic. Again, I couldn't agree with this more, and I'll keep saying it. It just feels a lot better. It just makes maps a lot more attractive to play. And makes it a lot more situational awareness. Like, your situation will change, especially during these times, because it might be like snow might fall into a road or a path that you might not be able to cross. As it builds up, as it sheds, the snow will build up on the ground. So maybe there's a path you can't go. So your tactics might need to change a wee bit. So all of that will need to be taken into account. And knowing that, again, that makes the game more exciting and makes it more challenging, and that's what makes this game fun, is that you're able, want that challenge to kind of go ahead, and it definitely just makes it more harder and a lot more fun to do. So that was your destructibility of freeze, especially with HE shells. Going on to Doctrine Redesign. Now, Doctrine Redesign has kind of been a thing that always been worked on, and a community wanted to always work on. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to read it from the article itself, from the article here, just because I want to actually show you what they're actually done here. So it says Doctrine Redesign. So a massive effort has gone into overhauling doctrines for all nations. We hired one of the most competitive players to help us shape this, because it has much more than a reshuffle of the existing units. It reshapes the way they work, which is true. So the doctrine choice has been modified to affect the infantry squads available to you, giving doctrines more meaning and more distinct flavors. Yeah, I mean, this is absolutely true. I mean, infantry is hugely important in this game, and knowing that they're able to modify it or making it more simpler to access makes it a lot easier for players to kind of understand what these troops are, how many are in a squad, what they are. So having that kind of split down really makes it easier for players, especially if you're a new beginner. Almost all of the infantry units migrate to the infantry menu, which so as you can see here, which I'll kind of zoom out a wee bit just so I can show you. So when you go into kind of make a game and a 2v2, as you can see here that there's a wee doctrine sign which you can change from all round defensive and all that. So now there's a wee icon down there which allows you to see what you'll have with that doctrine. So you can see there's infantry there, there's a tank section. It's kind of like the same as when you spawn in the game. You'll see what options you have available now, but now you'll be able to see it before you start the game, and this allows you to plan and check whether this doctrine is a right doctrine before you go into battle, whether you're thinking maybe all-round units isn't the best, all-round, doctrine isn't the best decision, or defensive isn't the best decision, but then you look at attack, the offensive doctrine, and you look through it, the preview of the offensive, you think that would suit it. So having this is absolutely huge and allows you to plan a lot better and check, for what is actually good, to see what you've got. So I 100%, I'm really glad they will add this in, because it seriously just makes you able to decide which one you want, which doctrine you want. It just makes the decision a lot easier before you go into battle, and I really, really think this should have been added in a lot earlier before, because to be honest, when you're looking at all around offensive, defensive, you're thinking, right, I'm going to a map that's attacking, I'll go offensive, I'll pick the offensive doctrine. Or if you're defending, then you'll pick defensive doctrine, and then if you're doing attacking and offensive, then you'll pick the all-round one. Those were the ways you're able to decide. But now that they've added this in, it allows you to preview it, all the doctrines. It allows you to honestly make the huge difference in winning a battle. And honestly, having this is just, they should have really had this from the start, because it really does make a huge difference to tactics, to tactics in the game and how you want to approach it. Which is, by the way, it's called the unit visualizer, which again they'll show you exactly what your choice amounts to, and players can see the units they will have at their disposal while selecting the doctrines in the multiplayer lobby. So this is only for multiplayer lobby. This allows them to plan. So I'm zooming it in. This allows them, I've zoomed in too much there. This allows them to plan ahead and check which doctrines have their favorite units, and then they've also added a doctrine type, which is the Lend-Lease program, which is the Russian. If you go select the Russian faction in the doctrine, if you go to doctrine section, and you'll see the Lend-Lease type. So some of the doctrine within the Lend-Lease will fall into this category as well. So again, huge props to Barbed Wire Studios for adding this in. Absolutely brilliant addition into the game, and I feel like they should be adding wee changes like this to add into the game, which really does make a difference to the battle. Let's move on now that we've kind of discussed about the doctrine units. Let's move on to the new unit. So they've added new units to the Soviets, the Germans, and the Finnish faction, which is always good to see. It's always good. There's tons and tons of units historically which are still not in the game. So knowing that they're still adding new units into those factions will be amazing. Hopefully they'll do it for the Americans as well when the DLC comes out. For example, a lot of new squads, vehicles, weapons, human skins, and tanks will be included. Of course, all these things are necessary to be added into the game. And then a new cycle system. So what this new cycle system is, I'll read it out to you. So I'm kind of going back and forward to the article. It's just so you can get a full understanding of it all. Some squads are no longer always the same when you purchase them. They cycle. So one in every X squad. So, I don't know, depending on the squad, like maybe infantry squad will contain a sniper or a different weapon loadouts, which is amazing. So it could be, so if you spawn maybe an infantry squad, it'll possibly have a sniper in it, and then if you spawn another infantry squad, it might not have the sniper, but it'll have a different weapon loadout. So it might be with a bazooka, or it might be with a SMG, or you could have the squad just not have any of that. So it changes every time. This is why it's called a cycle system. So it's not random, so it's called a cyclical system. This allows us to add squad variety and add historical accuracy to platoon level squad loadouts, which is amazing to see. It looks like from this picture, looks like a Grille, if I'm right, which is a German artillery piece. And that thing, knowing it hasn't got the highest caliber, the splash damage won't be huge. but I can tell it's going to the damage per shot that it gets out will be absolutely detrimental, and it will keep annoying a lot of players, and especially AI. So yeah, this is something that I actually really like, because it changes up the situation again for when you go into battle. So you're really going to need, when you do spawn that random squad, you're definitely going to have to see what units what type of guns they've got, or whether they have a sniper in it. So it's not random, it's cyclical. It's that cyclical system. So you're definitely going to have to, but when you spawn your squad, check your squad to see what they've got in it, what guns they've got, and then choose how you want to attack or defend the situation, depending what the situation is in battle. So again, I really like this system. It gives you a challenge to see how it'll play out in battle, and it just changes up a lot of it, which is really, really good. Right, moving on to the netcode improvements. So in multiplayer, when vehicles get destroyed, it takes a couple of seconds for them to get shifted to the right place. This is also known as position lag. So think about it: if you're in multiplayer and you destroy a vehicle, but when it's destroyed, it doesn't get destroyed in that one place. It keeps moving forward, so it doesn't look like it's dead. So you have to keep shooting it so it is dead. Well, that is known as position lag. But now they've improved this, so that means when you do shoot it, or you do shoot the tank down, then it won't move forward or side or backwards or wherever it is. Once it gets shot or it's down, it will stay in that same position. And this has happened to me quite a few times before, which has been frustrating, because I've wasted ammunition on my AT guns or my tanks just because I think that the tank is still alive when it's actually dead. So knowing that they fixed this is really good. They've also improved the inventory desync, which is amazing, because inventory desync can sometimes happen when you're looking at the inventory, and then it causes the game to crash wherever it is. So that's also a really important change. So well done. Really happy to see that. Moving on to the Conquest. Again, I am sorry for kind of going back for it. Again, see when it shows you animations like this, it's really important that I read you the whole article so you guys can fully understand it. And we are on to the third last thing, and then we are done. By the way, thank you for sticking with me. I hope you guys are still enjoying, and let's keep going. So the Conquest. So as you know, Conquest is a huge part in this game, and to be honest, I love Conquest. It makes it so much fun. See, if there wasn't a Conquest, I think this game and all Corporate Arms games would have died a long time ago. Conquest, we're always working on Conquest, and Content Update 5 will bring some new functions to the table. Players will be able to choose the theatre of operations and choose the enemy's nation. So the region of operations options filters out the nations available, plus maps that will be used for the campaign. So what that means here, as you can see, now when you choose a region, instead of going through player nation choosing, so you have now, it kind of makes sense because now it's kind of split. So as you can choose, you've got player nation, enemy nation. So with player nation, with enemy nation, you can change it to the region. So whether you want to be allies or axis. So the allies will include Germany and Russia, and others got Finland and Russia. So as you can see here, he kind of goes through it. He wants to pick USSR, and for the enemy team he wants to maybe pick Finland. So he clicks that for the enemy nation, and he picks Finland. And I know that's quite confusing to get your head around. So think about it this way: your region is between, let's say you as a player first want to pick what nation you want. So you either choose a region first, which is either Germany or Russia, or Finland and Russia. So let's say you want to pick Germany, so you click the region which is Germany and Russia, and then it'll either go between Russia and Germany. And then then you click the enemy nation. If you want the enemy nation to go to the Finnish and Russian region, then you click that region, and then you either change it to the Finnish or the Russian nation, if that makes sense. And I know that's quite a lot to get your head around, but I think this makes it a lot easier, because then you can actually choose which enemy you're going to face, instead of letting the AI randomize what nation they could be, which I think is really, really good. The region of operations option filters out the nations available, plus maps that will be used for the campaign. This also means that modders get a lot of new options, new combinations and possibilities with these features. The visualizer below shows you how it works, which I've hopefully kind of explained really, really well. So as I said, you get to choose what faction you want for yourself and also for the enemy nation as well, which is really, really cool. And of course, the difficulty, the economy, and the campaign size, and then your fog of war is still the same. Moving on to visuals. So all the improved stuff that they've done for the visual is that they've improved textures and 3D models to improve the visual fidelity, improved direct control aiming circles, so projected spread of salvos will become easier to understand as a result, which is completely true. And they've also improved many infantry weapons, so small arms, 3D models, so that third and first person are actually now worth it. I mean, these are all really valid improvements, really, really good improvements. I don't think they were massively... I think, to be honest, the most one that needed addressed was the improved direct aiming circle, because the circle of it, when you're in first person, when you're directly controlling it, the aiming it when you're aiming out and in, it didn't make much sense and it was confusing. So now the projected spread of salvos will become easier to understand. I'll be doing a demonstration of this in a video coming up soon. So again, all really worthy of improvements, and I think this is a great update so far. Moving on to the final and last thing, which to us I'm actually really excited for, which is the planning of this whole update of Content Update 5. So the Content Update 5 will go live around the same time as Liberation DLC. And it will come out, they're reckoning, they definitely know that Barwise Studios are saying that it will come out before the end of the year, and both Content Update 5 and the Liberation DLC will be announced roughly at the same time, for each other, which is really, really good to hear, because I'm now thinking we're now into October, we're coming to the mid-end of October. I think this is going to be close to possibly Christmas time. Honestly, I really hope I'm not right, because I hope it's earlier. I think this will probably come out maybe end of November, possibly early December time, realistically now. So I think this is absolutely brilliant here that they're now actually giving us not an exact date, but they're letting us know it is coming out before the end of the year. And I think this would be a great Christmas present for all of us, or even just an early Christmas present for all of us. So there you go, guys. That is Content Update number 136, as well, in relation to Content Update 5 and Liberation DLC. So guys, there you go. That is it for today. I hope you did enjoy this video. Let me know in the comments down below what has been the most exciting update so far in this. Is it the Content Update 5, just all of it, the Destructibility, where HE shells are now, the trees realistically are more natural when it comes to the type of year, or when an HE shell hits it? Or is it the Doctrine Redesign, where you're able to actually see what doctrines, you're able to visually see what doctrines you have before you go into battle, which is a huge thing, and I absolutely love, one of my favorite things. Is it the new units, which we don't know what the new units are, but are you actually excited to see, just them added into the game, which is really cool? Or is it the netcode improvements, where you've had a lot of position lag, and that's been a huge problem for you, and now that it's getting fixed, is this a big thing for you? Or is it the Conquest, which kind of mentions about the region, the fact now that you can choose you know, the enemy nation as well, but also your player nation, so you get to pick, you know, who you're going up against. So instead of just being at random enemy, you know, let the AI choose, you're now able to finally choose what the AI are doing. Or is it the visuals as well, the fact that, you know, the visuals are becoming more and more apparent and they're becoming better every time they release it? Or is it finally the fact that content update 5 and Liberation DLC will be released really, really soon, which is probably one of my favorite parts of all of this. But anyway, guys, that is it for today. Thank you so much for watching, and Ostfront, and I will see you in the next video. See you later, and goodbye.